My neighbor secretly paid my mortgage for 3 years. I bought my first house 2 years ago. Finances were tight, but I was managing. My neighbor Frank was always friendly, bringing cookies, helping with snow in winter. Last week I got a strange letter from the bank about changes in automatic payments. I called thinking it was an error. The bank representative said someone had been making additional payments on my loan for the past 3 years, about $400 a month. I was in shock. Who could it be? After investigating, it turned out to be Frank. I went to him and he broke down crying. Turns out his daughter died of cancer 5 years ago at age 30. She was never able to buy her own home because of medical debt. When I moved in, I reminded him of her. He wanted to help me achieve the dream his daughter couldn't. He used her insurance money that he'd been saving, not knowing what to do with it. I sobbed. Now I visit him every Sunday for dinner, and he's become like a father to me. Thanks to him, I'll pay off my mortgage 15 years early. Update. Frank is now officially grandpa to my future children. Thank you all for the kind words. I accidentally destroyed my boss's marriage by finding his secret family. I work as an assistant to a very wealthy CEO. Let's call him John. He's married, 3 kids, perfect family in the office photos. A month ago John asked me to pick up his credit card from home. He forgot it. He gave me the address and door code. I arrived, but this wasn't the house from the corporate photos. Inside, a woman with 2 small children greeted me. She called me by name and said, "Oh, you're from John's office. He said you might stop by." On the walls were family photos, John, this woman, and the kids. Recent photos. I grabbed the credit card and left in a daze. I didn't say anything, but the next week at the corporate party, John's real wife showed up. She asked me if I knew the address of their new house that John bought as an investment. I accidentally gave her the address of the second house. Her face went pale. The next day John didn't come to work. A week later his wife filed for divorce. Turns out he had a double life for 8 years, a second wife, not official, and 2 children nobody knew about. Now the company is in chaos, John is on leave, and I'm afraid I'll be fired for revealing the secret, even though I didn't know. Update. I wasn't fired. The real wife is grateful to me and even wrote a letter to the second wife also didn't know about the first family, both were deceived. My husband died 7 years ago. Yesterday I saw him in Costco. I was married to Mark for 6 years when he died in a car accident in 2018. Closed casket, funeral, everything. I grieved for years, went to therapy, finally started living again. Yesterday I was at Costco with my boyfriend, standing in line for hot dogs, and I see him, Mark, alive, with another woman and a child about 5 years old. I froze. Our eyes met. He went pale, grabbed the woman's hand and ran to the exit. I screamed his name. Security stopped me. I called the police. Turns out Mark faked his death with help from a corrupt official to escape gambling debts. He owed $200,000 to dangerous people. He started a new life in another state with a new name. I received his $500,000 life insurance after his death, which I spent on therapy and a new beginning. Now it's being investigated as insurance fraud. They might make me return the money even though I didn't know. His new wife had no idea. The child is his. My life is destroyed again, but now from anger, not grief. Update. Lawyer says I'm not liable since I was deceived. Mark is arrested. His new wife is in shock. I want him to rot in prison. I found my grandmother's diary. My grandfather isn't my grandfather. After my grandmother passed away, I was cleaning out her house and found an old diary from the 1960s. Out of curiosity I started reading. Bombshell. My grandfather, Robert, isn't my mom's biological father. Grandma had an affair with an Italian soldier named Marco during a trip to Europe in 1959. She got pregnant, but Marco was killed in a military incident before she returned. She married Robert, a childhood friend, 2 months later. He knew the truth and agreed to raise the child as his own. Nobody else knew. I did a DNA test and found Italian relatives. I have a whole second family in Italy. They were shocked but welcomed us. Grandpa Marco has a brother who cried when he learned about us. My mom was devastated at first, but now she's planning a trip to Italy to meet the new family. Robert will forever remain my real grandfather. He chose love over blood. My best friend stole my business idea and became a millionaire. In 2019, my best friend Jake and I came up with an idea for a mental health app. I was the developer, he was the marketer. We worked on it for a year, but I had financial problems and took a 3-month break to get a job. When I came back, Jake said he changed his mind about the project. I was crushed but moved on. In 2021 I saw exactly our app in the App Store. Same name, slightly changed, same features, my code. Founder, Jake. The app exploded, $50 million in funding. Jake in Forbes. I hired a lawyer, but I didn't have a patent or official partnership, just email correspondence and GitHub commits under my name. The case dragged on for 2 years. Last week we settled out of court, $2 million in public acknowledgement of my contribution. Jake avoided criminal charges. $2 million will change my life, but he made $100 million plus. Our friendship is dead. He didn't even apologize, said it was just business. Update. His company is starting to lose investors after my public statement. Karma is real. I found out my wife has been drugging me for 2 years. I started feeling exhausted all the time about 2 years ago. Constant brain fog, couldn't focus at work, sleeping 12 hours a day. Doctors ran every test imaginable. Nothing. My wife was so supportive. She'd make me special smoothies every morning, to boost my energy. She suggested I quit my stressful job. I did. She handled all our finances while I recovered. Last month I accidentally grabbed her phone instead of mine. A text notification popped up. Did you get more of the stuff? How much longer are you keeping him like this? My blood ran cold. I went through everything. Emails to her affair partner discussing how the sedatives were working perfectly. She'd been crushing up prescription sleep medication into my morning smoothies for 2 years. Why? She wanted me docile and dependent while she drained our bank accounts and transferred assets to her name. She was planning to leave me, mentally unfit, and take everything. I secretly recorded conversations, gathered evidence, went to police. She's now arrested for assault and fraud. I've been off the drugs for 3 weeks and feel like myself again. The betrayal is worse than the drugging. I trusted her completely. Update. Divorce filed. Her family is in denial. My family wants me to press maximum charges. I'm just glad to be alive and clear-headed. My sister's perfect husband is actually my stalker from college. My sister got married last year to this guy named David. Seemed great, successful, treated her well. We'd only met twice before the wedding because they lived across the country. At Thanksgiving dinner, David kept staring at me. Then he said, "You went to State University, right? I think we had a class together." Something clicked. His voice. The way he looked at me. 10 years ago at college, I had a stalker. He followed me everywhere, left notes, showed up at my dorm. Campus police got involved. He was expelled. His name was Daniel. I pulled up old police reports on my phone. Same birth date. Photos matched, but he'd lost weight and grew a beard. David is Daniel. I pulled my sister aside and told her everything. She didn't believe me at first, said I was jealous. I showed her the police reports. She confronted him. He admitted it, said he changed and became a better person, and it was fate that he met my sister. He claimed he didn't know she was my sister at first, but I don't believe that. My sister is devastated. She's filing for annulment. He's been calling and texting both of us nonstop. I got a restraining order. She's staying with me now. The worst part, he has photos of me from recent years on his computer. He's been tracking me this whole time. Update. Police are investigating. Turns out he has photos of multiple women. This goes way deeper than my case. I'm a teacher. A student's fantasy story revealed his mom's affair. I teach creative writing to middle schoolers. Last month, a student turned in a story about a boy who discovers his mom has a secret second phone that she hides in the garage. In the story, the boy finds romantic texts between his mom and Uncle Mike, who isn't really his uncle. The details were extremely specific: real restaurant names in our town, a real hotel, specific dates. The writing was too detailed, too emotional to be pure fiction. This kid was writing his reality. I'm a mandatory reporter, but this wasn't abuse, just infidelity. I didn't know what to do. I asked the student if the story was based on real events. He broke down crying and begged me not to tell his dad because it would destroy everything. I was in an impossible position. After agonizing, I called the school counselor. We decided to call the parents in for a conference about the student's emotional distress showing in his writing. The mom came alone. When I read parts of the story, she went white. She knew that we knew. She asked to speak to her son privately. 2 weeks later, the student came to me and said his parents are divorcing but his dad doesn't hate him for the story. He thanked me for handling it carefully. But the mom complained to the principal that I violated privacy by reading her son's work too closely. Some other parents heard about it and now there's a whole debate about whether creative writing should be monitored. I was just trying to help a kid in pain. Update. Principal supports me. Mom withdrew the complaint. The student is doing better with therapy. I bought my dream house. The previous owner refuses to leave. I closed on my dream house 3 months ago. Beautiful Victorian, great price because the elderly owner needed to sell quickly for medical reasons. Moving day comes. The previous owner, Margaret, is still there. With all her furniture. She says the closing must be a mistake, and she never agreed to leave. I showed her the signed documents. She called me a liar. Police said it's a civil matter. My lawyer started eviction proceedings, but she claimed tenants' rights even though she's not a tenant. She's a previous owner who refused to acknowledge the sale. This has been going on for 3 months. She's living in my house that I'm paying the mortgage on. I can't move in. She's changed the locks. My lawyer says the process could take 6 to 9 more months. Yesterday I found out why. Her son forged her signature on the sale documents without her knowledge. He has power of attorney and sold her house to pay off his gambling debts. She legitimately didn't know the house was being sold. Now I'm caught between an elderly woman who's being financially abused by her son and my legal right to the property I purchased in good faith. The son is nowhere to be found. Margaret has dementia and doesn't remember signing anything because she never did. I feel terrible but I also can't just lose my life savings. Update. Working with Adult Protective Services. The son is being investigated for elder abuse. Margaret will likely go to assisted living. I might get my house in 2 to 3 months. This is a nightmare. I discovered my adoption papers. My sister is actually my biological mom. I was looking for my birth certificate for a passport application and found adoption papers in my parents' safe. I was adopted at birth. Okay, surprising but not devastating. Then I read who the birth mother was. My sister, Jessica. She was 16 when I was born. My parents adopted me and raised me as their youngest child while Jessica was actually my mother. I'm 24 now. Jessica is 40. We've been sisters my entire life. I confronted my parents. They broke down. They thought they were protecting everyone. Jessica wanted to finish school, go to college, have a life. They offered to raise me so she could. The plan was to tell me when I turned 18, but Jessica begged them not to. She was terrified I'd hate her or that it would ruin our relationship. I confronted Jessica. She sobbed. Said giving birth to me was the hardest thing she ever did, but watching me grow up as her sister let her be in my life without the judgment she would have faced as a teen mom in our small town. I'm so angry, but also I understand, but also my entire life is a lie. My niece and nephew are actually my half-siblings. My parents are my grandparents. I don't know how to process this. Jessica wants a relationship as mother-daughter now. I don't know if I can do that. She's been my sister for 24 years. Update. In therapy, taking space from everyone. Jessica respects my boundaries. My parents are devastated but supportive. No easy answers here. My fiancé's ex-wife isn't dead. She's been living in our basement. I got engaged to Tom 6 months ago. He's a widower. His wife supposedly died in a hiking accident 3 years ago. Very tragic, closed casket funeral, the whole thing. Last week I heard noises from the basement at 2 a.m. Tom said it was pipes. But I heard them again. And again. Finally, while Tom was at work, I went down there. There's a furnished room behind the storage area. And in it was a woman. Very much alive. She screamed when she saw me. Turns out this is Tom's dead Wife, Laura. She's been living in our basement for 3 years. Tom brings her food, books, everything. She has a TV and internet. Why? Laura had a mental breakdown and became violent. She attacked Tom multiple times. Instead of having her committed, he faked her death and has been keeping her hidden, hoping she'd get better. She's not violent anymore, but she's terrified of the outside world now. She begged me not to call the police. Tom came home and found us both crying. He explained he couldn't put her in a facility, they were horrible. He thought he was helping. But this is kidnapping, false death, insurance fraud. I'm engaged to a man who has been hiding his wife in the basement. I don't even know what's legal or illegal anymore. Laura says she stays willingly now, but can she really consent after 3 years of isolation? Update. Called authorities. Laura is getting proper psychiatric help. Tom is facing charges. Wedding is obviously off. This is insane. I learned my company's CPR mannequin is my dead coworker. I work at a medical training facility. We have this one CPR mannequin that's been here for 15 years. Super realistic, silicone face, looks almost human. New manager started and asked about the history of our equipment. Old timer on staff got drunk at happy hour and let it slip. The face was modeled from a former employee who died. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. Back in 2008, an employee named Sarah died suddenly at 32. Her family donated her face to be cast for educational purposes, thinking it would be for medical illustrations. The company instead made it into our most used CPR dummy. I've been doing chest compressions on a dead woman's face for 2 years. We all have. Hundreds of students have. When confronted, the company said it was technically legal because the family signed a broad consent form. But they didn't explicitly know it would become a mannequin that people practice on daily. Sarah's sister found out through the grapevine and is horrified. She's demanding the mannequin be destroyed. Company is refusing because it's expensive equipment. Half the staff now refuses to use it. Training sessions are awkward. I can't look at it the same way. Update. Local news picked up the story. Company is getting destroyed on social media. They're reviewing the situation. Sarah's family is considering legal action. My husband has been getting our daughter's homework wrong on purpose. My daughter is in 3rd grade. Her grades dropped from A's to C's this semester. Her teacher said she's making careless mistakes on homework but does fine on tests. I started checking her homework more carefully. Math problems were wrong but in weird ways, like someone who knows math made them wrong on purpose. My husband always helps her with homework while I make dinner. I started watching without him knowing. He was deliberately teaching her incorrect methods. Telling her 7 + 8 = 14. That Washington, D.C. is in Washington State. Spelling words wrong. I confronted him. He broke down. Turns out his parents were abusive perfectionists who punished him severely for any grade below an A. He developed extreme anxiety about achievement. He thought if our daughter was average instead of excelling, she wouldn't face the same pressure. He was sabotaging her on purpose to protect her from becoming like him. But he was literally making our 8-year-old fail. The teacher thought she had a learning disability. Our daughter cried because she thought she was stupid. He's agreed to therapy, but I'm furious. He damaged our daughter's confidence and academic record because of his own trauma instead of dealing with it properly. Update. Husband in intensive therapy. Daughter knows daddy made mistakes but we're fixing it. Her grades are back up. Trust is broken but we're working on it. I found out why my rent is so cheap. I moved into this amazing apartment 2 years ago. 2-bedroom in an expensive city for $800 per month. Landlord said it was family discount because I reminded him of his daughter. Too good to be true, right? Last week my neighbor pulled me aside and asked if I knew what happened in my apartment. 5 years ago, a murder-suicide happened there. Young couple, very violent, very publicized. My landlord has been unable to rent it for market rate ever since. He's not legally required to disclose this in my state. I looked it up. The case was brutal. It happened in my bedroom. I suddenly remembered weird things. The carpet in the bedroom is newer than the rest. There's a patch of different paint on one wall. The closet door was replaced. I feel sick. I've been sleeping where someone died violently. My landlord lied by omission. When I confronted him, he said, "You never asked," and legally he's right. I want to move but I can't afford anything else in this city. My boyfriend refuses to sleep over anymore. I researched the case and now I can't stop thinking about it. Update. Found a roommate to split a new place. Moving next month. Landlord is angry I'm breaking the lease early, over, old news. Some people have no empathy. My child's imaginary friend knows things he shouldn't know. My son is 5, he has an imaginary friend named Charlie. Normal kid stuff, right? Except Charlie knows things. My son told me, Charlie says grandma is sad today because of the blue vase. I called my mom, her favorite vase had broken that morning. We hadn't told him. Then, Charlie says there's water leaking under the sink. There was. Brand new leak I hadn't noticed. Charlie says the lady with the red car is moving away. Our neighbor announced she's moving the next day. Red car. This has happened a dozen times. Specific, verifiable information my son couldn't possibly know. I asked him what Charlie looks like. He described a man matching the description of the previous owner of our house who died here of a heart attack. I'm a skeptic. I don't believe in ghosts. But my 5-year-old is consistently providing accurate information about current events he has no access to, attributed to an imaginary friend who matches a dead person. My husband thinks I'm reading too much into coincidences. But it's not coincidental anymore. Last night my son said, Charlie says to check on the car before daddy drives to work. I checked. Brake line was leaking. Could have been fatal. Update. Got the house blessed by multiple religious leaders. Activity has decreased. Husband is less skeptical now. Son says Charlie went to be with his wife now. I have no rational explanation for any of this. I'm a surgeon. I operated on my daughter's bully. I'm a pediatric surgeon. Last month a kid came in for an emergency appendectomy. I walked in and recognized him immediately. He's been bullying my daughter at school for months. My daughter has come home crying because of this kid. He's made fun of her weight, her glasses, spread rumors. The school did nothing, and now his life is in my hands. Literally. Obviously I did the surgery professionally. I'm not a monster. But, afterward, his parents were so grateful, so worried. They had no idea their son was a bully. I told them everything. How their perfect boy has been tormenting my daughter. I probably shouldn't have, but I was still angry. They were shocked. Turns out the kid's older brother bullies him at home. Cycle of abuse. They had no idea it was extending to school. The kid apologized to my daughter. Real apology, with tears. His parents got him therapy. The bullying stopped. But here's my issue. Some colleagues found out and said I was unprofessional for telling the parents about the bullying. That I should have kept my personal life separate. But how? I'm supposed to save the life of someone actively harming my child and say nothing. The parents deserve to know. Update. Hospital reviewed my case and found no wrongdoing. The boy and my daughter are actually friends now. His home life is improving with family therapy. My girlfriend has been paying actors to be my friends. I'm socially awkward. Always have been. Never had many friends. When I started dating Emma 2 years ago, suddenly I had a friend group. Her friends welcomed me. We'd hang out, play games, grab drinks. I finally felt like I belonged. Last week I overheard Emma on the phone, I can't pay you guys anymore. It's been 2 years. Just fade out gradually. I confronted her. She broke down. Turns out she hired actors through some service to befriend me because I was depressed about having no friends. It started as a 1-month thing but continued for 2 years. Every hangout, every birthday party, every bro night, paid actors. They were nice to me because they were being paid. The betrayal is indescribable. She thought she was helping. She spent thousands of dollars creating a fake social life for me because she thought I couldn't make real friends. The worst part, she was right. I can't. Without paid actors, I have nobody. Update. Broke up with Emma. In therapy. Trying to understand if I'm angry because it was fake or because it worked. I genuinely like those friends, even if they were paid. I'm a 911 dispatcher. A frequent caller just admitted something horrifying. I've been a 911 dispatcher for 8 years. We have frequent callers, usually mental health issues, loneliness, etc. One caller, Rita, calls about twice a week. Always reporting suspicious activity that turns out to be nothing. Neighbors walking dogs, delivery trucks, normal stuff. Last week Rita called again. But this time she was crying. Said she needed to confess something before she died. 30 years ago, Rita's neighbor's child went missing. Huge case, never solved, presumed kidnapped. Rita saw what happened. The child wasn't kidnapped. He fell into an old well on Rita's property. She heard him crying but was afraid she'd be blamed. She covered the well and never told anyone. For 30 years, a family has believed their son was taken by a predator. They've lived with hope he might be alive somewhere. He was dead in Rita's backyard the whole time. I kept her on the line and dispatched police and investigators. They found remains in the well. Confirmed identity. The family finally has closure, but Rita's confession has reopened decades of trauma. Rita is being charged, but she's 80 and dying of cancer. I can't stop thinking about that little boy crying in a well while Rita went on with her life. Update. Rita died before trial. Family is devastated all over again. I need therapy after this one. Some calls you never forget. My brother's fiancé is my childhood bully who made me attempt suicide. My brother got engaged. I hadn't met his fiancé yet because I live across the country. I flew in for the engagement party. She walked in and I nearly passed out. Jessica, my childhood bully who made my life hell from ages 12 to 16. She led a group that tormented me daily. Spreading rumors I was a predator. Faking screenshots of me saying horrible things. Physical intimidation. I attempted suicide at 16 because of her. I have scars on my wrists. I was hospitalized. I had to change schools. And now she's marrying my brother. She recognized me immediately. Went pale. My brother noticed the tension and asked if we knew each other. I said we went to school together. Jessica quickly agreed. We both knew what was unsaid. Later she pulled me aside. Apologized. Said she was a different person now. She's ashamed of who she was. She's been in therapy. Maybe she has changed. But I still have PTSD. I still have scars. I can't watch my brother marry my tormentor. I told my brother everything. He didn't believe me at first. Jessica admitted it. He's torn between the love of his life and his sister. Update. Brother called off the engagement. Jessica is devastated. Family is split. Some think I should have stayed quiet. But I couldn't watch that wedding. I'm a funeral director. Dead man woke up during embalming. This happened 3 days ago and I'm still shaking. A man was pronounced dead at a nursing home. Natural causes, 87 years old. Body came to our funeral home. I began the embalming process. Standard procedure. I had made the first incision when the body gasped. I jumped back. Thought it was post-mortem gas release. Happens sometimes. But then his eyes opened. He tried to speak. He was alive. Barely, but alive. I called 911 immediately. Paramedics came. He was rushed to hospital. I had already cut into his femoral artery for embalming. Turns out he wasn't dead. He was in a very deep coma that mimicked death. The nursing home doctor made a mistake. No heartbeat detected. No breathing. Cold skin, but he was somehow still alive in there. The incision I made accelerated his death. He died in the hospital an hour later. Am I responsible? The death certificate said he was dead. I followed protocol, but I cut into a living person. The family is suing the nursing home, not me, but I can't sleep. I keep seeing his eyes open. The confusion in them. Update. Legal says I'm clear. I followed procedure based on legal death certificate. But morally, I'll never feel clear. Leaving this profession, my DNA test revealed my fertility doctor used his own sperm. I was conceived through IVF in 1992. My parents used an anonymous sperm donor. Normal story. I did a DNA test for fun last year. Got a match, a half-sibling. Then another. Then another. Eventually I had 47 half-siblings. All of us were conceived at the same fertility clinic. All of us were told we had different anonymous donors. Investigation revealed our donor was Dr. Richard Morrison, the fertility doctor himself. He used his own sperm for dozens of patients without consent. My parents are horrified. The man they trusted to help them have a child violated that trust in the most intimate way possible. I have 47 half-siblings. We've formed a support group. Some of my siblings grew up in the same town and dated before knowing they were related. Dr. Morrison is dead, died 5 years ago. Can't prosecute a dead man. The clinic settled for millions, but no amount of money fixes this violation. I look like him. I have his mannerisms. My parents see him in me and it breaks their hearts. Update. Documentary crew wants to film our story. Most siblings agree. We want people to know this happened and push for better regulations. I'm a pilot. I recognized a passenger as a wanted fugitive.